Tomorrow is the first presidential debate between Harris and Trump. Today, President Biden called Harris to offer his support, and he was very reassuring. Biden told her, listen, the worst that can happen is all the Democrats unite and kick you off the ticket.
Well, the precedent has been set, hasn't it? That'd be an interesting development, wouldn't it? You think Kamala Harris could do so terribly tonight that the Democrats would have to kick her off the ticket, too? I wouldn't rule out the possibility. Democrat Party being what it is today, which is undemocratic, very, very undemocratic, but at least they're still looting. Last night, mobs of Democrats looting Washington, D.C., and what is it, 5 different neighborhoods, or is it 6 different neighborhoods? A mob of 65 Democrats smashing out storefronts. They went to the Gucci. They did not attack the TJ Maxx. Did not go after the TJ Maxx. Why do you think that is? Kind of strange. Maybe not. Maybe not so strange after all. So it is the big debate tonight, and I can't wait. My DVR is set, and I'm excited. I probably have a nice dinner with my best girl. I might have a beer. I might have 2 beers, let's be honest. It's beautiful out today, the weather. It's global nicing, I think. The Democrats get very upset when the weather is nice. They prefer nasty, harsh weather so they can point to it and claim that the secular apocalypse is upon us and only they can save us from ourselves. They're not well. They're not well, are they? At least they're violent. So we got that. Remarkable things, I'm telling you. Also, we've got the lead story in the fake Washington Post today. It's the actual Washington Post, just a fake newspaper. Democracy died at the Washington Post. Their big story, their lead story, election 2024, gearing up for glare of debate. There's going to be glare, apparently. I'll wear my sunglasses watching it on TV. 2 approaches to crucial face-off. It's a crucial face-off. Intense camp for Harris. They put the word camp in quotation marks because it's not like the camps they're going to build for Republicans and for re-education camps when they really come out of the closet as the commies that they are. Policy confabs for Trump. What kind of a person used the word confab, honestly? There it is. When Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump meet Tuesday night in Philadelphia, they will have taken dramatically different approaches to preparing for the first and probably only presidential debate between the 2 candidates. But again, it's the third first bank and it's the second first debate for President Trump and the first debate for Kamala Harris. And the news media, they've got her back. They're here for her. The Washington Post is here for her. The whole gang, they're here for her. The front page of the Metro sectional, that was in the A sectional, because some Democrats are A sectional. Some Democrats are Metro sectional. And the Metro sectional, they've got their big front page story is a big color picture of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris smiling, and there's a crowd behind them, and Kamala's waving, and they look really good. And this is not an event that happened anytime recently. And the headline is, in Virginia, likely voters favor Harris. It's their big, I haven't shown it to Michael. I show it to Michael. There it is. Likely voters favor Harris. Poll shows Democratic nominee leads by 8 percentage points. Now, if you don't live in a key swing state, nobody cares about your vote. Your vote doesn't matter. It doesn't count. Key swing states only. And then within the key swing states, there are small pockets that, because they know Philadelphia is going to vote for communism and, for the Chairman Mao and all that stuff. But there's a county out west somewhere that's going to decide the state of Pennsylvania, and that will decide the election. But wait, then you turn the channel and you see, in Georgia's a key swing state. And, of course, the Democrats are going to win Atlanta because all the gun-toting, crack-dealing criminals, and they're all Democrats. And they try to put Donald Trump in this prison where everybody dies. And it's all fine because Democrats and, Black Lives Matter, except when they don't. It's a remarkable thing. But then there's one county in Georgia that will swing the whole state, and it'll be by 840 votes. And the presidential election hinges on what happens in one county in the state of Georgia, a key swing state. And the Democrats send 1 million Chinese people in there with bayonets affixed, and they, drag people out and all this madness. Just completely nuts. This is our election season. And, I was reminded of Howard Dean. Howard Dean, I was talking to a friend of mine last night. I was with my friend Pat last night on a rooftop place. Beautiful weather here because of global perfection and the weather. Sometimes it's colder, sometimes it's hotter. The Democrats panic either way. But I was talking to my friend and reminding him of years ago when Howard Dean was he had been governor, and then he became the Democrat nominee for president, and then he screamed, and that all went away. Candidate for president, and then he screamed, and and his whole presidential campaign went up in smoke, like so many Democrats do today when they self-immolate. Doesn't that happen a lot? And Howard Dean, and Michael Piercy and I were talking about this yesterday. And Michael said, I think this might be the beginning of when everything really went to hell in American politics. Howard Dean bragged as he was leaving his post as Democratic National Committee chairman, and he had been a governor and an unsuccessful presidential candidate. And he was so proud that he explained that it used to be in the United States of America, we'd have an election every 4 years, a presidential election. And then the political hacks who make millions and millions of dollars off of lying to people, they'd go away for 3 years, and then they'd come back every, in the fourth year for the presidential debate. And he said he fixed all that. He made it better to make sure that we're all fighting each other every day of every year, constantly. This is Democrat filthy boy Howard Dean explaining perhaps when all American political discussions went straight to hell. Before this, I think you could sit at the dinner table at Thanksgiving with your family members who voted for the other party, and it was okay. But Howard Dean explained that they wanted everybody at one another's throats constantly all year long, not just every 4 years.
Remember I talked about the permanent campaign? Well, before I got to the DNC, we didn't have a permanent campaign. You would campaign for 1 year when you had a candidate, and then if you didn't win, you wouldn't campaign for the next 3 years. No wonder we lose. Now we don't just have a permanent campaign for electing Democrats. We have a permanent campaign for influencing policy. It brings us a little closer to the European model.
It brings us a little closer to the European model. Just move to Europe and get the hell out of here. You think they think everything anyplace else. It brings us a little closer to the European model. And they're all drinking coffee and snorting cocaine and cheating on each other and all this stuff. No wonder we'd lose. What? What are you talking about? The permanent campaign. It could be the starting point of all the filth that is now what we call our political system. The beginning of shooting Donald Trump in the head. The beginning of self-immolation. At least 4 Democrats have self-immolated in the last couple of years in the United States of America over political causes. And the suicide attacks on the police and on Republican members of Congress on a baseball diamond in Virginia. Yeah, the permanent campaign, brings us a little closer to the European model. You know, if you've got Europe envy, which you obviously do, get the hell out of here, you dwarf pimp. Honestly, the permanent campaign. No wonder we'd lose. No, now we've got a permanent on policy. And that is where the food fight that never ends began, perhaps. We can blame it on Howard Dean. He should probably be arrested and jailed since, we're now jailing our political. We'll send him to jail in Venezuela. Of course, then he'll be let go and he can walk across the border like all the gangs. Yeah, Howard Dean and the permanent campaign. The permanent campaign. Thanks, Howard Dean. That really made things better, didn't it? That made everything much, much better. Howard Dean and the permanent campaign. Yeah. He should face charges, I think. What do you think about that? Face charges? Just amazing. All right, so much more to get to. Let's start going to let's go to Kamala because her radio interview with Black Radio, because everything has to be about race with the Party of the Confederate States of America. That's the Democrat Party. Jefferson Davis, Democrat. Abraham Lincoln, first Republican president, freed the slaves. Emancipation Proclamation. Democrat shot him in the head and killed him. Donald Trump, he was shot in the head, nearly killed by a Democrat recently. And then they cremated his body. And there's an awful lot we still don't know about that episode, isn't there? So here's Kamala. And gosh, she knows that there are some problems in the United States. Like, groceries are much more expensive, and cars and gas and interest rates, and buying a home is impossible. And
the people who have an issue or concern with this idea that, you have not done or won't do enough to help people that are having struggles.
Look, I know know that groceries, for example, are still too expensive, and we got some work to do there. Part of my economic plan to build an opportunity
people pounding in the background
to actually be on track to build that kind of intergenerational wealth that comes with home ownership. So that's why I call it an opportunity economy.
That's why I call it an opportunity economy. You know what an opportunity economy is? A free market capitalist economy. That's what an opportunity economy is. But they want a government version of an opportunity economy. The government will give you your opportunities, and that means they can take away your opportunities. That's why we don't do things that way in the United States of America. Am I right? Of course I'm right. Don't be silly. Now, Kamala Harris, and this just emerged, and this is kind of an amazing story, actually. The New York Post has the story. Kamala Harris told ACLU, the so-called American Civil Liberties Union, they're not American and they don't believe in civil liberties. They might be union. Kamala Harris told ACLU she'd fund trans surgeries, that means transgenderism, for migrant inmates, that she would decriminalize drugs and end ICE detainers. During the 2020 campaign, she said all this stuff to the ACLU. And remember, she said that the important thing when it comes to her is that her values have not changed.
I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed.
Her values have not changed. Well, in 2020, in the 2020 campaign, she told the ACLU, talking to her, sitting down with her. She likes to sit down. She likes standing. And she said that she would have us, the taxpayers, fund transgender genital mutilation for illegal aliens that just walked across our border. She said that she would have us fund transgender surgery and other medical treatments for convicted criminals and inmates. That she would decriminalize drugs because that makes everything better. Then, the dead people laying on the sidewalk in front of your kid's school will be as a direct result of Kamala's policies. Policies have consequences. And end ICE detainers, meaning open borders and let the gangs steal your daughters and your car and disappear into the sunset. And, this is her values have not changed. In fact, Bernie the Bolshevik, who is a communist, said the same thing the other day.
Do you think that she is abandoning her progressive ideals?
No, I don't think she's abandoning her ideals. I think she's trying to be pragmatic and doing what she thinks is right in order to win the election.
White, doing what is white, and abandoning. He said abandoning and white. Her values are, but she's not abandoning her values. No. And her values are white. Pretty amazing stuff. That's your Democrat Party. They're not on our side. And Kamala, transgender. And what else did she say that she would do? Let's see. Open borders, decriminalize crime, so that things that are crimes now wouldn't be crimes when she becomes president. And transgender funding for any lunatic that stumbles across our border. Those are her values. These are her priorities. You know that football season is here. Boy, is it here already. And the best place to get real money sports action while watching football, is Prize Picks. Prize Picks, that's what it is. The app is really simple to use. Just pick 2 or more players across any sport, pick more or less on their projections, and you could win up to 100 times your money, and all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. But not only that, listen, Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy app with injury insurance. Injury insurance. If one of your players goes down in the first half, Prize Picks does not count it as a loss. Download the Prize Picks app today. Prize Picks, wonderful. Download the app. Use the code PLANTE, P-L-A-N-T-E, to get $50 in credit instantly when you play $5. You hear that? All you do is play $5. You get a $50 instant credit. The code is P-L-A-N-T-E, PLANTE, for Prize Picks to get $50 credit instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. Yeah, and if Kamala were a Republican, all of this stuff would be front and center every day. Every day they'd be sawing that same log over and over again. This is what she said then. Her values haven't changed. So says Bernie the Bolshevik. So says Kamala. I'll take Kamala's word for it, and Bernie's too. Her values haven't changed. She wants us to pay for illegal alien transgender surgeries and for convicted criminals, and to defund the police, and defund ICE, and no detainers for illegal alien gang members. Let them roam free. Now, I'm looking at the clock. I was going to go to a phone call, but we don't really have enough time to do it justice. But we'll get back to it. I also want to get to the Haitians eating your cat. They're stealing, killing, cooking, and eating your cat in Ohio. A woman was arrested for eating someone's neighborhood cat by the police. And people showing up at city council meetings in Ohio, in Chicago, around the country. People showing up and giving their elected officials an earful about what they're doing to their towns. So much fun, so little time. CNN employs a guy they call Andrew Kaczynski. They say he's part of an investigative thing or something like that, and he was on the television with Aaron Burnett, who is a just out-of-the-closet Democrat activist at CNN. And they had a little back and forth about Kamala because her values haven't changed, according to Kamala. And according to Bernie the Bolshevik, her values haven't changed. But she's a transgender for illegal alien criminals who are in prison, and we pay for it, and abolish ICE and defund the police and legalize all drugs, which would increase the drug epidemic. We already have more than 100,000 dead every year from fatal drug overdoses. And, it's more than we've had killed in every war, starting with World War II going forward. And we have that in 1 year from fatal drug overdoses because of open borders and the Chinese and the drug cartels, but pay no attention to that. So here's Andrew Kaczynski on CNN talking to Aaron Burnett about, and this guy, he might be fired. He might have to be fired because he said a couple of things that are true about Kamala.
She made this open-ended pledge to end immigrant detention. She said she supported taxpayer-funded gender transition surgeries for detained migrants. She also said she supported
taxpayer-funded gender transition surgeries for detained migrants. She actually saed she supported that.
She both wrote and answered in the affirmative when she was asked this.
Yeah, and even Aaron Burnett was slack-jawed. She's like, you're making that up. You could hear in the tone of her voice. And that's because they don't follow the news. I say this all the time because it's true. you can talk to news anchors all over the place, and they have no idea. You know, it happens to me on occasion. They have no idea what I'm telling them. They're like, that's not true. I'm like, no, that is true. You just don't follow the news. You don't know what's in the news because you guys. Yeah, values. Her values have not changed. All right, let's grab a phone call now. Let's go to Robin, calling from Georgia, somewhere in Georgia. Robin, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
How you doing, Chris? You making all right?
Yes, sir. Yes, Robin, I am. How about you?
All right. Yeah, I'm just trying to get Kamala prepared for the debate. And all thing she had to do is just like when Joe Biden said, how can you debate a liar? But the only thing you had to do is just call out her Trump, every lie that he called, just said he's a liar, and just go on for that, especially when he's talking about the immigrants are coming over and taking Social Security, and because that's not true, because you can't get Social Security if you're not paid into the system. And also these black people job, what are you talking about, was shoving in, SHI, and put it in. But anyway, that was sort of black people job.
What? I didn't get the last part. I got the Social Security part. Yeah, but they'll eventually collect Social Security because that's the Democrats' plan. It's already bankrupt, Social Security, and the country's already bankrupt. We have $35 trillion national debt. But what was the last bit? And she did say when she was on the black radio station, because it's not a white radio station, said that he's going to lie and he's going to lie. So they're going to come out and say lie, but what the border and what is the other part, Robin?
I'm not quite understanding what you're saying.
Robin's a Democrat. He's
yes, a Democrat. I'm a very proud Democrat, I hope that everyone vote Democrat this time because, like I said, we cannot get the Republicans in again, like especially Trump. He got a $7 trillion into debt, and by giving tax breaks for the rich, he told them to trickle it down. They were going to just give you money on down as far as if you be their waitress, as far as in the restaurant while they come in and they eat and everything. They make all the money, but yet instead they're going to trickle it down for our tips. And even with the tips, you're not outrageous with the tips now, and you're talking about not taxing them, and you already don't have any money into the treasurer, and you understand you're going to stop taxing them, and even giving tax breaks for the rich who already not paying any taxes anyway. And this is what Trump is all about. And, of course, Kamala wants to correct that problem.
She wants to correct that problem. Sure, absolutely. And Joe Biden has added $7 trillion to the national, and Kamala Harris, they've added in 3.5 years, they've added more than $7 trillion to the national debt. And that's probably not a positive thing. The national debt now more than $35 trillion. And you think the Democrats and Kamala Harris, just the people, and she's just the person to get us back on track, I'm quite sure. Now, Robin, would you say that you're proud to be an American?
Yes.
You would? You know, you're a little hesitant there. You sounded a little puzzled by that. You sounded a little. I find that interesting because the Democrats they've done a good job of disparaging the United States of America, slurring and slandering the United States of America. And I brought in today a Gallup poll that shows that people, you're probably not in the 18 to 34 category, but 18 to 34 category in the United States now. 18% of Americans say that they're proud to be American, where at least I know I'm free. And that's kind of amazing because not so long ago, just 1 decade ago, in fact, 85% in 2013, 85% of 18 to 29-year-olds said that they were extremely proud or very proud to be American. And now that number is 18%, went from 85% to 18%, people saying they're extremely proud or very proud to be an American. Now, the Democrat Party did that, right?
Well, let me explain a little about it as far as what Trump is saying, as far as he's trying to get that 18 to 35 group as far as Black American male. And it's not going to work because basically what he's talking about where he can relate to them because he got all these criminal records charged against him. And these blacks, and it's entirely different ball game because there are lots of blacks are arrested because they do have committed crime, but that Trump has committed all kinds of crimes. And,
Name one for me.
Name several of them as far as trying to change the election as far as in Georgia, calling up the Secretary of State and the governor trying to get some more votes as far as that's illegal. That's
illegal, but that's not illegal. That's not illegal. That's a free speech issue. Well, the Democrats contested the 2000 election all the way to the Supreme Court. Terry McAuliffe, DNC chair and former governor of Virginia, said that the 2004 election was stolen, and making a phone call has never been illegal in the United States of America, and asking, and I know it's a matter of phrasing, and I'm sure you appreciate this too, Robin. It's a matter of phrasing.
We're getting back to the 2000 election, and this is what the Supreme Court jumped in. And
all right. Well, I don't have. Well, they didn't jump in, but we don't have time to really get all that. So, in any case, you called in to say that Kamala should call President Trump a liar tonight, and that's it. And when you say he committed all kinds of crimes, unlike shooting people and being crack dealers and stuff like that, which are no big deal, but the President Trump called someone and asked about the vote tallies, and that's the crime that you cite. All right, what else? What other crimes, Robin?
Well, there's a crime as far as paying the prostitute hush money, and I
think she's going to sue you for slander for calling her a prostitute.
If that's what she was, as far as you getting paid for.
You mean she was in pornographic movies? Is that the thing? That's different. I think that's a legitimate industry in California. It's one of their proudest industries, as a matter of fact. All right, Robin, you're a lot of fun, and we'll watch the debate tonight, and we'll see. Because I played the soundbite earlier of Kamala's, on the black radio, not white radio, saying that he's a liar. And this is what Democrats, like I said, Democrats, the party of the Confederate States of America. You're in Georgia, you should know. At the party of Ashley Wilkes and 12 Oaks and, Gone with the Wind. That's your Democrat party. They're Ashley Wilkes. But never mind that. So the Democrats have made, 85% of Americans were extremely or very proud to be Americans in 2013. Now, here we are 11 years later, and really the poll was 10 years later. Americans went 85% proud to 18% proud because the Democrat Party has done a great hatchet job on the United States. Pretty amazing stuff. Yes, sir. All right. Now, let's go to the next Democrat Party project, which is open borders and tens of thousands of Haitians, tens of thousands, literally 20,000 Haitians sent to an Ohio city. Why an Ohio city? Let's send them all to Manhattan, Midtown Manhattan, with machetes. I think 20,000 Haitians in Midtown Manhattan with machetes is just the thing that New York City needs. Pretty amazing stuff. Maybe send them to D.C. They can chop up the people that are looting 5 different neighborhoods last night in Washington, D.C. But let's go to this because in Ohio, Springfield, Ohio, some crazy things are happening, Robin, where the Democrats sent 20,000 people from Haiti. And in Haiti, they're best known these days for cannibalism because one of the gang leaders there, who has great political power too, who goes by the name Barbecue. Why barbecue? Because he cooks the flesh of human beings and eats it along with members of his gang. But never mind that. The Democrats with their open borders and all this good stuff. Here is, who's this? WKBN. The Attorney General in Ohio orders deep dive into Ohio migrant population because in Springfield, they had a town, a city with a population of 60,000. The Democrats imported 20,000 Haitians who their native tongue is going to be Creole or French, not Spanish, not English, certainly. And it turns out there are stories all over the place about the Haitian immigrants, 20,000 of them, stealing people's house cats and eating them and stuff. Now, let's go to the audio, because there's lots of good audio on this. There was a city council meeting at City Hall, and a Springfield man showed up, and he's trying to tell them about what the Haitians are doing, running around Springfield, Ohio, not a border city, not a border state. The Democrats are here to fundamentally transform America. They never said they were going to make it better. They just said they're going to fundamentally transform it, turn it into a beep hole country that nobody will want to go to anymore, but will want to flee. Springfield, Ohio man at the city council meeting talking about the Haitians.
I really challenge you guys to get out here and do something. These Haitians are running into trash cans. They're running into buildings.
Vehicles.
They're running into... they flipping cars in the middle of the street. And I don't know how, like, y'all can be comfortable with this. Like, I don't know, like, who's getting paid from it.
Who's getting paid? Who's getting paid? He wants to know. Springfield man. And the same man, this is one of the stories coming out of Springfield, Ohio, that the Haitians are grabbing the ducks and the geese out of parks and streams and wringing their necks and snapping their heads off and taking them to cook them and eat them over open fires, because they're our new neighbors and they're immigrants, and the Democrats want more. And not only that, but house cats are disappearing at a record rate. And that can't be explained. But here's the same man.
I honestly feel like someone's getting paid from it in the background. You got a bunch of people on a bus getting dropped off at a gas station to come down here. I know a single mom that FaceTimed me this morning at the welfare office that really need something. And it's nothing but immigrants over there. And I don't even want to seem like I'm coming down on the immigrants, because it's the people that's bringing them down here. Because wherever they're at, that's what they're used to, bro. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them.
Yeah, well, guys got to eat. There it is. Then a woman in Springfield, Ohio, at the same city council meeting.
I'm done with what I'm seeing. It is so unsafe in my neighborhood anymore. I have the homeless that were trying to camp out, and I have made concessions with them, and I try to help them the best I can to keep them from trying to squat on my property. But it is so unsafe. I have men that cannot speak English in my front yard screaming at me, throwing mattresses in my front yard, throwing trash in my front yard. And I can't. Look at me. I weigh 95 pounds. I couldn't defend myself if I had to.
Little older woman, and she said that her husband has announced that it's time for them to leave Springfield, Ohio. It's no longer safe for them because the Democrats have fundamentally transformed Springfield, Ohio. In Canton, Ohio, the police, this is body cam video from a police officer in Canton, Ohio. The neighbors called because a woman of African origin, I can't say if she's from Haiti or not, stole somebody's cat, smashed its head, and was eating it in front of these women in their neighborhood when the police showed up.
What did you do? Why'd you kill the cat? Smile for me.
She's not speaking.
Smile with your teeth.
She's
like this.
The neighbor
Did
women.
You eat that cat? Did you eat it? No, why'd you kill it? Did you guys see all this?
No, we pulled up and she was just laying there with it.
Did you see her eating it?
Eating it.
She was eating it?
Yeah, she was.
You call the Humane Society to see if they'll come pick this cat up. It's deceased.
I don't know what the Humane Society is going to do. So this is what the Democrats have done to the United States of America, and they're not done yet. Their agent of change is Kamala Harris. Barack Obama threatened or promised the fundamental transformation of America, which means Haitians fleeing cannibalism coming to your neighborhood and killing your cat. The lady smashed its head in and was eating, and the neighbors showed up, and the neighbors are African-American women, and said, oh, yeah, we pulled up, and there she was on the ground eating the cat, eating the neighbor's house cat. And the man And he's African-American, too, describing the Haitian immigrants grabbing the ducks and the geese in the park and snapping their heads off and taking them off to eat them. And CBS News, for their part, attacking J.D. Vance, saying that his claim that Haitian immigrants are eating the animals in the park and eating cats without evidence. That's the CBS News headline, attacking J.D. Vance for trying to draw attention to it. And the news media is the most corrupt institution in the United States of America.
We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America.
Yesterday, there was a hearing that was sponsored by Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene out of Georgia. And it has to do with January 6th. And January 6th, defendants in jail, in solitary confinement in many cases, because they're like communists, are being fed Chairman Mao-style Chinese communist propaganda re-education materials. And one of the witnesses, Trennis Evans, explained what they are forcing the incarcerated defendants to consume as a form of re-education.
These were re-education materials distributed to them about Trump's big lie.
Inmates.
Trump's crimes before he called for the attack on our democracy. Donald Trump, how he has attacked our democracy. Negligence, obstruction, rape, tax evasion. These are actual lesson plans. Take a look at the tablet, ask them to show you. They were available to them in the jail.
Those are the titles of the reading materials that the inmates incarcerated for January 6th are being fed. It's more like the Cultural Revolution in Communist China than pretty much anything I've ever heard before. Each item, reading material, anti-Trump propaganda.